During the early 90s, the Buffalo Bills burst onto the scene with an explosive offense that put up yards, points, and Super Bowl appearances at an astounding rate. They were led by 4 Hall of Famers on offense, which just gave them a dearth of talent, and when combined with their unique offensive approach, it is no surprise that the Bills were the only team ever to make 4 Super Bowl appearances in a row from 1991 to 1994. Now, though they were unable to capture victory in any of these games, they will go down as one of the most memorable offenses ever, with their 1991 season being their best, and I have the K-Gun Bills as my number 4 ranked offense in NFL history. And we will be breaking down 8 different plays in their spread and trips formations in the Run N Shoot Playbook. Now, the Bills' passing attack was built around the bones of the run and shoot offense. This was the predecessor for the modern spread offenses that we see taking over football today. And it was designed to be a spread them out passing attack where players' routes would change depending on the coverage they see post-snap. So once the receiver and the QB were on the same pages, this put a tremendous strain on the defense. The Bills incorporated a ton of these shoot principles, and first we are going to look at the play 60 go in single back trips open. This is a great play at attacking any zone coverage they throw your way. Here we want trips to the wide side, and then the only adjustment is I like to put the backside receiver on a drag. Then the key route will be our middle slot receiver. He's on an option route. Now, if it's single high zone cover 3, then he's going to run this seam route that drifts away from the safety, and if the flat defender stays shallow, you can just fire this into him for really consistent yards. You really want to get this in quickly. Once he gets upfield, you want to keep it away from the safety. Then against a too high look with a cover 4 or cover 2 zone, the slot receiver is going to break his route off and cut inside of the safety and turn this into a post attack in the middle of the field that you can just throw in for really good yards. And as long as the user doesn't jump it over the middle, this is a great route to attack those too high zone coverages. Then at the snap, we want to be looking at the trip side, and if the defender who's over top of your option route is getting depth and taking it away, you just want to quickly fire it in underneath into the flat route, rack catch it, and pick up easy yards underneath. Or if after the snap, the flat is taken away and the option route is getting covered over the middle, this is where you have the drag as the third read, and you just want to rack catch this ball and take those easy yards they are giving you. Now, the man at the helm of this offense was Jim Kelly, and he was the one who was in charge of making all of this work. He was an incredibly intelligent QB who ran these concepts with amazing potency, and once he and his star receivers got on the same page, he could deliver the ball with pinpoint accuracy, and it made these passing concepts next to impossible to stop. Next, we are looking at 60x option and pistol spread. This is a great zone beating play overall, but this is my go-to play to attack cover 3. Here we want our option route to the short side of the field, and I like to smart route this route. He's going to get deeper down the field. Then you want to check the safeties, and if it's single high, we want to put our wide side receiver on a drag, but if we see 2 safeties back, then we want to leave him on a streak. Now again, single high, we want to check the seam first, and if our slot gets free, then you just want to fire this route in over the middle for a nice gain. Then if the flat defender or the user take away the seam, then the backside option route is going to turn into this post attacking the middle of the field that gets in behind hooks but stays in front of deep safeties for really consistent yards. This is one of my favorite routes in this whole scheme, and it absolutely shreds cover 3 zone defenses. Then if the user plays really deep down the field and takes away the post, then you have 2 drags underneath running a mesh concept, and you can just fire it into whichever one is more open and let him pick up some rack yards. We want to check the wide side, and at the snap, if it's cover 2, you just want to wait for your outside streak to get in behind the corner, and the seam ball will hold the safety into the middle of the field. Then you can bomb them over the corner's head for a huge gain down the field. Then if at the snap the cornerback keeps getting depth with your streak, then we know it's going to be cover 4, and you just want to check it down to the drag as he comes across the field. Now, over the past 30 years, the NFL has been changing and turned into an offensive game with star quarterbacks at the center of the team on the field, and then creative genius level coaches designing new explosive ways to attack offensively. So I wanted to break down the top 5 offenses ever and show you how you can run each of them in Madden. Now, number 5 through number 2 will each have one video breaking down around 10 plays for each one, but then the number 1 offense will be a full scheme breakdown where I give you 5+ videos based around that offense. Now, leave a comment down below who you think will be in the rest of the top 5. Then if you want to check out all the other schemes that are out so far for the top 5, I will leave a link in the description for a playlist list with them all. So the 1991 Bills are coming in at number 4 of my all-time greatest NFL offenses. Now they finished with the most yards in the NFL with an average of 390 a game, finished second in scoring this season with 28 points per game. And these were huge numbers in this era of football. They were able to finish the regular season 13-3 and make a Super Bowl, but they did come up short in the big game, losing to the Washington Redskins. Now by the end of the season, Jim Kelly wrapped up first team All-Pro quarterback honors, and he led them to have the 4th most passing yards on the season. But the best player on the team and in the whole league was their running back Thurman Thomas. He was able to win league MVP, and he had the ability to dominate in any phase of the game. You just had to get the ball in his hands and let him make plays. And on the back of Thurman, they were actually able to lead the NFL in rushing yards in 1991, and this was the biggest difference between the Bills and the other really classic run and shoot teams. The Bills would pound the rock, and they would run it whenever the defense gave them the opportunity, and this made them so much more balanced and tough to stop. Now, how we want to set up our run game is to always take advantage of the numbers. So we want to run versus light boxes. If you get to the line and they are spread out to match your spread personnel, and they're keeping their safeties back, we want to count the numbers in the box, and if they are light, so 6 or less players, then this is a great opportunity to run the ball and force them to commit more resources to try to stop our run game. Now, my favorite run in this playbook for this is the 0-1 trap and single back trips open. It has this inside pulling guard that will kick out the D tackle and give you a super nice gain up the middle. You can get downhill right away and bust for really consistent yards. But there are a ton of other options you can go to in this playbook for runs, and as long as you are counting defenders in the box, they are all very viable. Now, the 90s Bills had a ton of talent, really allowing them to unlock their offense and use it to their full potential, and they were led by 4 Hall of Famers. At QB, they had Jim Kelly, who is the brains of the whole operation and had more control over the Bills' offense than any quarterback in the history of the league up to this point. His 1991 season was his best ever, where he passed for 3,844 yards, 33 touchdowns, and a 97.6 QB rating. And for this era of football, this was an amazing stat line. Now, at this spot, I'm using Steve McNair, who had really good arm strength and the ability to play in the pocket and deliver the ball wherever we need it, just like Jim Kelly. And I do have set feet lead on my QB to make sure you can deliver the football with extra zip and put it into those tight windows. Then at running back, they had Thurman Thomas. He was the original do-it-all running back who was an incredible runner in between the tackles, but what set him apart was his ability to be a dangerous weapon out of the backfield, catch passes, and make defenders miss in the open field. In his 1991 campaign, he racked up 1,407 rushing yards to go along with 631 yards receiving on 62 receptions and 12 total touchdowns. And he was so dominant this season, he was named league MVP, becoming only the 4th running back to take home this award in the Super Bowl era. At my tailback, I am using Walter Payton, who has the same ability to pick up those tough yards on the ground, but he can also be an excellent receiver out of the backfield. Then I do have Jukebox on him, and this will allow him to be even more dangerous with the ball in his hands. Next, they have Andre Reed, who is an excellent possession receiver and route runner. He was the consummate pro and would just get open and make plays whenever the Bills needed him most. In 91, he had 1,113 yards on 81 receptions with 10 touchdowns. Now, in this role, we will have our 2 slot receivers. They will both play in the slot on each side in our spread looks, and then when we play trips, they will be both our inside receivers. And here I am using Calvin Johnson and Michael Crabtree. Then on both of these players, I have short in elite. This will ensure they can get easy separation against man coverage, and that is super important to how Madden is playing right now. Then lastly, they had James Lofton, who is the ultimate deep threat and could make explosive plays down the field at an incredible rate. In the 91 season, he racked up 1,072 yards on only 57 receptions for an insane 18.8 yards per catch. Now in this spot, I have Tyreek Hill, and he will play on the outside, and his role is to take the top off the defense and make some big explosive gains down the field. Now, if you want to unlock even more for this scheme, you need to check out my website, Scheme Kings. Up right now is part 2 of this Bills scheme, where I break down 8 more plays to give you so many more options to attack your opponent in this Bills offense. I give you multiple more man beaters to attack the Madden meta and a ton of ways to go at zone coverage all over the field, allowing you to turn this into one of the most unstoppable passing offenses in Madden 20. 3. Then up on Scheme Kings are all of my past schemes like my Ultimate Mobile QB offense and my Alabama Nick Saban defense. So if you want to check out the site and take a look at the rest of my top 5 offenses that are up there, you can use top 5 at checkout for 50% off of your first month, and this sale is going to run till November 15th. So if you want to check out Scheme Kings, I will leave a link for it down in the description below. Now, to utilize these star players, we want to scheme them up and put them in the best spot to make plays. So the Bills had Andre Reed, who is their possession receiver and who is built to attack the middle of the field, and we are going to scheme our players open the same way. So first we will look at Z spot in pistol trips open, and this play is designed to beat man coverage. First we have trips to the wide side, then take the outside player and put him on a slant, then take the inside most slot and put him on a whip. Now our first read here will be the corner route, and we will have short and elite on this player. So as he cuts to the outside, he will get great separation versus man coverage, and it will enable him to rack up really consistent yards. Then if the cornerback is able to stay with him, then we want to look to the whip breaking out. Now if he gets any separation, just fire it in, and whips are one of the best routes in the game to really just get those yards underneath against man coverage. Now if both those routes are covered, that means they likely shaded their man coverage outside. So now we have the slant attacking the middle of the field, and you can fire it in as he cuts over the middle, and this can rack you up some good yardage. But we can also look to the backside post from our solo receiver. As he cuts over the middle, you are going to get great separation, and if they are overplaying to the trip side, you can really pick up huge yardage with this player, and this route does very good at separating against man coverage, especially if they shade to the outside. Next we have the play Run and Shoot Switch Curl in Pistol Spread. This is a great way to get consistent yards versus zone coverage. Here we have the wheel and post to the short side, then just take your running back and put him on an out route to the wide side. Now here we want to read the wide side first and look to the flat defender. If he stays inside and shallow, then this out route will get wide open along the sideline, and you can just fire it in. This works especially well against a cover 3 look, and you can get super easy yards just toe tapping along the sideline. Then if you see the flat defender is staying wide and to the outside, then you will have this inside curl sitting down versus zone coverage for a really easy gainer as our second read. Then if at the snap you see the whole defense on the wide side dropping out underneath the curl and the out route, you can just fire it into the running back underneath and let him make a play in space. But if at the snap you see the user leave the middle and go to the wide side, then you have the backside Z post attack in the middle of the field. He is going to stay in front of the safety, and if the user is gone, you will have a really nice pocket to throw this in and pick up really easy yards down the field for some big plays. Then the Bills would scheme the ball into Thurman Thomas's hands. He was one of the most dangerous players in the league, and they wanted to get the ball to him in space as much as possible. So to accomplish something similar, we have the play Circle in Gun Spread, and this is another way to attack man coverage all over the field. Here we want the running back to the short side of the field, then take the slot receiver on the wide side and put him on a whip. Now this is the first place I like to look. So if at the snap he will break to the outside and get super easy separation and can get really consistent yards underneath. Then I'll look to my running back, and he is on this really unique Texas route that cuts over the middle. As he cuts inside, he will absolutely lose his man coverage and get wide open for big gain. As long as you have time in the pocket, this is an excellent route to get your running back one-on-one versus a linebacker and make them pay in man coverage. Then next we have the wide side wide receiver who is on a crosser, and this route does a very good job at separating versus man coverage once he cuts over the middle. This gives you another route that can get you explosive gains down this field versus man coverage. Then if you are running this play and they are bringing heat, then you can actually motion your slot who is on the fade in and snap the ball once he is behind your line, and he will turn into a blocker and pick up the blitz. This will give you that extra time to allow your routes to get open down the field, and you can fire them in. Then they have the big play threat James Lofton, who is an absolute beast at getting open down the field for huge gains. Now for this play, we'll use the play 60 slide in single back trips open, and this is an insane cover 3-1 play touchdown. For this play, have your trips to the short side, then take your solo receiver and motion him in, then take your inside slot receiver, put him on a streak, and take the other slot receiver and put him on a drag. Now as you drop back, you will look to your solo side receiver, and you will see he will get in and behind the cover 3 corner, and he will not react at all to your option route as he cuts in behind him. And then your streak will hold the safety inside, and you will get wide open deep for walk-in 1-play scores. Now this is super glitchy, and if you don't want to use it, that is all good. But if they are playing a ton of cover 3, this is a great way to get wide open down the field and pick up really huge gains and easy touchdowns. Then one part of the Bills' K-gun offense that I really didn't touch on today, but was absolutely crucial for their success, was their no-huddle offense. They were the first team to make it such an important part of their game plan, and Jim Kelly could get to the line and have full control to call plays as he needed them. If you want to utilize this strategy, I would stick in pistol spread and pistol and single back trips open, and I would use these audibles. Now this offense is going to be absolutely amazing to move the ball over the field and rack up a ton of points. But if you want to play with a scheme that is a little bit more modern, but equally as dangerous, you need to check out this video right here where I break down my number 5 offense of all time, the 2011 New Orleans Saints.